I am Adler, the one who proposed individual psychology. Does the phrase "might makes right" make your heart race, or does it leave you feeling a certain emptiness? This is the crux of today's discussion. I want to lead you to the paradox that hiding your inner weaknesses behind apparent strength, like muscle or power, actually distances you from true strength. Why is it essential to talk about this now? Because our modern world is overly obsessed with visible strength. Social media workout posts, the myth of manliness, the hierarchy of successful people, all impose an implicit pressure on us that suggests we must be strong to survive. But I ask, is strength about defeating others, or is it about accepting your own weaknesses? When you contemplate this question deeply, you'll find that someone who tries to connect with others openly, without any facade, is far braver than those who armor themselves with muscles and admiration. As Adler, I want to convey to you, striving to overcome feelings of inferiority, that the act of trying to be strong is indeed admirable. However, do not mistake your purpose in doing so. This is the core message I want to impart through this video. So then, what is true strength? Is your heart capable of enduring it? A young person once said, "Once I started working out, I gained confidence in myself. I used to be constantly anxious about everything, but now I feel like I can live more boldly." You might relate to these words. In fact, this is a sentiment many people today share. Muscles are often talked about in connection with an increase in self-esteem beyond just changes in appearance. But I ask, has it really brought peace of mind? Or is it simply covering up anxiety with muscles? Let me share a piece of data. According to a psychological survey, 1 in 3 people who regularly work out still feel their self-esteem can occasionally decrease. They say things like, "I need to train more," or "I'm still weak." In other words, working out has turned into an endless game of anxiety. Here, I promise you one thing of value. By the end of this video, your definition of strength will change. Not muscles, but the power to connect with others as equals. The ability to live courageously while embracing defeat and shame. This is what a true hero needs, and you will deeply understand that. Beneath the surface of machismo lies the inner conflict. Adlerian psychology aims to unmask it. Today, there's a widespread demand for strength in society. Don't complain. If you're a man, endure in silence. To succeed, you must be tougher than anyone else. Behind these words lies an unspoken assumption. Weakness is a sin. Emotions are indulgence. Take the business world, for instance. Leaders are expected to have decisiveness, charisma, and overwhelming results, with little room for doubt or inner conflict. In gyms, pushing beyond limits is praised, and muscle mass or bench press records are treated almost as if they validate one's worth as a person. Social media amplifies this trend with shirtless selfies and before-after photos earning thousands of likes and accolades, subtly telling the viewer, "You can change too. It's not okay to remain weak." This way, the idea that being muscular equals being strong as a human seeps into society almost unnoticed. It's as if a culture of wearing muscles as armor is taking root. But how many people hidden beneath that armor tremble in fear of self-denial? As Adler, what I fear most is that the words "be strong" have been replaced with pressure to be ashamed of your weakness. As a result, everyone tries to adapt to a society where honest expression is not allowed, leading sensitive hearts to become increasingly isolated. Here I want to ask you, what is true strength? Is the strong one who silences others with force, or is it the one who faces those in pain without looking away, who holds true strength? I am Alfred Adler. Once in Vienna, I stood alongside Freud and then parted ways. I've always questioned human troubles and behaviors, not asking why do we act this way, but rather for what purpose do we act this way. The act of seeking strength also has a purpose. Often it is compensation for inferiority. This is a key concept at the core of my philosophy. Everyone harbors a small sense of inferiority deep within. This is not a bad thing. In fact, it's the starting point for growth. The issue, however, is how we deal with it. Some choose to learn, seek help, and move towards cooperation with others. Yet others try to assert their superiority by looking down on others. This is the defense mechanism known as the superiority complex. And it is also the true nature of the extreme pursuit of external strength, like muscles, achievements, and success. I called this superiority complex a mask of strength. It is merely an attempt to pretend confidence. For example, someone may say they want to build a body that can't be defeated by anyone. But I ask them, what are you running away from? Those who try to prove their worth by appearing strong are often trapped by the belief that they cannot be loved for who they truly are. This is the mental prison known as machoism. But I want to say that feeling inferior is not something to be ashamed of. How you handle it makes all the difference. I want to convey true courage to you. That first step is acknowledging your inferiority and moving forward from there. Authentic strength in humans lies in the power to cooperate with others, while accepting one's weaknesses rather than striving for an exaggerated show of strength to impress others. In today's world, my philosophy can be summed up as follows. Muscle worship, machismo, is a symbol of over-adaptation. This is because people try desperately to align themselves with the ideal image society demands to justify their existence. They feel an irresistible pressure from phrases like "you must be strong" and "if you're not on the winning side, it doesn't matter," and eventually opt for a shield. For instance, there was a young employee at a company who was eager to become the top salesperson. He never missed a day of training and constantly pushed himself. Yet one day he confided, "Honestly, I want to rely on someone or express my vulnerability, but I'm scared that everything might fall apart if I do." As these words suggest, the pursuit of strength is closely tied to an obsession with not showing weakness. This isn't due to a lack of courage. It's a hunger for belonging and love. In other words, because there is no assurance that even I will be accepted, people feel the need to force themselves to appear strong. Here, I would like to offer a perspective on why are you building your muscles? Is it to show off, to protect, or perhaps to connect? Muscles for competing against others aren't as valuable as a heart that can cooperate with others in making society better. This includes the power to genuinely celebrate a friend's success, the ability to acknowledge your own faults, and the strength to share failures and turn them into laughter. These are examples of true strength, which can only be possessed by those who have overcome feelings of inferiority. I place great importance on the concept of encouragement and not suppressing someone, but believing in their potential and supporting them. This doesn't stem from muscles, it grows from one's mindset. And in this world, far more people than one might imagine are searching for this kind of strength. Now, let me pose a question to you. What does it mean to be truly strong? Someone who never shows vulnerability and always presents a confident front. B, someone who, while sometimes voicing their weaknesses and asking for help, faces the challenges before them. Many might instinctively choose A because we've been taught from a young age not to cry, to do things on our own and not to rely on others. However, I, as Adler assert, it is B who is truly strong. This dilemma has a profound structure. The apparent strength of A is often an act of self-defense, wearing a mask so no one sees through them. But when that mask is removed, there's a fragility that makes one feel isolated and their heart collapse. On the other hand, people like B have the courage to act, even as they acknowledge their weaknesses. This courage is the core of what Adlerian psychology esteems as the sense of community, the belief that even in imperfection, one can connect with others, and that one's worth isn't determined by their strength, is vital to society. How do you deal with your own weaknesses? Do you hide them, cover them up? Or can you share them with someone else? Think back to who you truly trust. Were they perfect? Or were they clumsy, showed their weaknesses, yet were sincere? Here I want to turn the question back to you. Which form of strength do you aspire to achieve? Nowadays, the culture that idolizes muscle is merging with technology like never before. Wearable devices measure heart rate and body fat, while AI coaches provide the optimal training regimen. On social media, bulk-up influencers wield tremendous influence, and their words are received as if they were doctrines of a way of life. Yet, I harbor a significant concern here. Could it be that technology is contributing to the elimination of weakness? Fitness apps allow you to train your body efficiently. However, when it comes to listening to your inner voice, you must do so awkwardly and inefficiently. In a society that forgets this, only optimized strength becomes the virtue, and immaturity and indecision become targets for elimination. What I value in my philosophy, rooted in Adlerian psychology, is the courage to be imperfect. Technology should aid humans, not deny their imperfections. It is precisely because humans are unstable, unpredictable, and sometimes pause that there is room to connect with others. This is the future I envision, a culture that values showing vulnerability as strength rather than a society isolated by muscles. A society where friends ask, "Are you okay?" instead of AI measuring heart rates. Relationships where we support one another's imperfect hearts more than perfect bodies. Technology has refined our appearance. What we now need is the wisdom to restore connections on the inside, and that requires courage, trust, a sense of community, all things inherently human. In the silence, truth emerges. We take pride in our muscles as they grow, yet when our hearts ache, do we swallow the pain without ever speaking of it? We live with our silent cries unheard. I must be stronger. I must be more accepted. Such voices are the whips that drive us, yet I know it's none other than ourselves wielding those whips. Take a moment to close your eyes and look within. There you'll find fear, shame, regret, envy, all sorts of weaknesses breathing. These are not to be erased, rather they are your humanity, and the gateway to connecting with others. I've seen it countless times in clinical settings. The moment someone desperate to appear strong lets out a sigh and murmurs, "Actually, I'm scared." That's when the circuit of the heart connects with another. In the silence, there's a voice to hear. It's the words, "No one ever told you. You have value just as you are." Allow me to offer those words on your behalf. Even without muscle, even without achievements, you are valuable. Those who find this notion unbearable cling hardest to strength. That's why I tell them facing that unbearableness is the true courage. The time beyond words, the weight of silence, the tears unseen by anyone. These are proof that you are truly being restructured. And it is this quiet restructuring that becomes the first step toward changing society. Here we go. If you're tired of apparent strength and have the courage to pursue real strength, now is the time to choose a new strategy. As Adler, I will present you with 3 practical steps. Chapter 1. Redefining strength from winning to connecting. First, let's reconsider the meaning of strength. It's not about defeating others. It's about the power to meet others as equals and grow together. In other words, shifting from competition to cooperation is the first step. 2, articulating weakness. Name your emotions. Scared, anxious, want to be recognized. Labeling your emotions honestly is an act of removing the mask. Only those who can do this are truly mature adults. Even if you can't express it to others, start by being honest with yourself. That's the first training for strengthening the muscles of your heart. 3, practicing encouragement. From evaluation to support. If you interact with others, don't evaluate them, support them. Say things like, "I've seen your effort," or "The fact you tried is amazing." What moves people is not fear, but trust. By practicing these 3 steps, your lifestyle will change. It's not the amount of muscle, but the depth of trust that will shape your value. Let me say it once more. If you're exhausted from appearing strong, try betting on being connected. People don't have to become strong alone. We can be weak together and move forward together. That is the truly strong way to live. Let's take a moment to pause. Your mind, which has been contemplating what true strength is, might now have regained a bit of calm. In a world filled with the loud calls of win, don't lose, and rise above, what you truly sought might have been the quiet certainty beyond those noises. As Adler, I have this thought. True strength is the ability to endure silence. When you achieve results, people praise you. If you build muscle, you get attention. But accepting yourself as you are when you're doing nothing is much more challenging. Yet, it is precisely in that interval that the true self begins to emerge. Remember, when you cried, the comforting words from someone touched your heart. It wasn't because they were strong, it was because they didn't reject your vulnerability. I want to leave this moment imprinted on your heart. Strength isn't something to shout out loudly. It emerges quietly, softly, from the reality of being together. So there's no need to rush, there's no need to fight. It's okay to just be here as you are. Thank you for listening so far. If my words have touched any part of your heart, that alone is meaningful. In a world where be strong is often repeated, you paused for a moment to reconsider what true strength is. This is not an easy task. In fact, I believe it is the most courageous action one can take in today's society. As Adler, I've shared with many that the greatest human desire is to belong. That's why people try to gain a place in the group by appearing strong. But deep down, what everyone truly wants is to be accepted just as they are. On this channel, I will continue to use wisdom of the past to offer words that illuminate the future. If today's discussion has brought you any insights, please subscribe to the channel. Next time, another great figure might shine a light on your doubts and fears from a different angle. History is not something that has passed by. It pulses in the blood of those of us living today. The words, attitudes, and perspectives you choose from now on, each one has the potential to make the world a kinder place. Thank you. Until we meet again. What did you feel today? Anger? Confusion? Empathy? Or maybe you just nodded quietly. I, as Adler, do not believe that what I talked about today is the correct answer. Rather, it's a starting point for continuing the questions. What does it mean to be strong? Why are people drawn to muscles? Is a society where we can truly accept each other's weaknesses possible? How will you continue to face these questions? In what settings and within what relationships will you strive to find your value? Please share your thoughts in the comments, whether you felt a sense of understanding, discomfort, or want to share your own experiences. It's all welcome. From that, new perspectives will emerge and our community of knowledge will gradually evolve. If you felt like sharing this video with someone, it's likely a sign that the redefinition of strength has already begun within you. To be strong is to be gentle. To be gentle is to know others' pain. And even knowing that pain, choosing not to abandon others. That is what I believe a true macho is. As long as your contemplation continues, I will be here. Look forward to who will speak next and what questions will arise. Thank you. Let's talk again.